speaking of a bow on stage, Jim, of course, we did go in the time machine and travel to the future here as we are recording. And according to, let me update this, right now, the PodcastOne's stock listed as PODC, Courtside Group Incorporated. This was the stock, ladies and gentlemen, you may remember this, that Colin Thomson of Kast Media, on an email to myself with the chief executives of Podcast One, said we would get. For the money that Colin misappropriated of ours, at least the amount he was admitting to in that email, we would have gotten a third of that in Podcast One pre-IPO stock with a valuation before it goes public, and then we would have to hold that stock for 2 years. Now, it's an important note here. I've recently learned that other people who have received some of this stock, for instance, employees of Podcast One, or perhaps Colin Thomson, they're allowed to unload the stock in 6 months. You gotta wonder if in 6 months, no matter where this is going to be a rush to sell that thing, and then every podcast that has to hold it for another year and a half is going to be fucked. But the stock we were promised pre-IPO, Podcast One, went public today, this morning. The team from Podcast One, and what a motley crew this is. Luckily, there are visuals, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, good Lord, yes. Oh, the one guy looked like fucking Lumpy Rutherford's fucking older uncle. His fucking round face and his fake teeth, because they were so bright white, he was doing like the star bling thing whenever he had his forced smile on his face. Otherwise, he looked uncomfortable, like he had a outbreak of shingles in between his buttocks.
I believe you're speaking of Kit Gray from Podcast One. He was next to Rob Ellen, who certainly didn't dress up for the occasion. I guess he wants people to think he's Mr. Rock and Roll.
He came right in from Hollywood.
But the stock went public this morning, Jim. It opened at $8 a share. That is what they were thinking for a while. They were saying they hoped to open between $12 a share and $8 a share. Again, that's what they thought.
I guess 8 is in between 8 and 12, ain't it?
I guess so. And if we had received any of the stock, if we had accepted this deal, this bad deal, which also we would have been locked into working with these people who we don't want to work with, we would have received this. It would have opened at 8. And right now, as we are recording, we would have $4.44 a share. It is down 44.5% already on the day.
What time do they open up there? 9:30, 10 o'clock?
9:30 is the stock market.
Okay, so 4 hours, a little over 4 hours, and it's already worth half of what it was to begin with. So this 6 months thing, good luck. This is going to be one of those deals where, like some South American country, you have to carry the currency in a wheelbarrow. You're going to have so many thousands of shares to get any folding money out of it in 6 months that you'll have to wheelbarrow the thing up to the window. And
again, 80% of Podcast One stock will be owned by the parent company, Live One. It's kind of like WWE and Vince in a way, but they'll have 80% of the stock. The other 20% is what's being sold or what's being given to either investors or employees, or, of course, podcasters were offered.
They didn't counterfeit money. They didn't print actual currency that somebody may have been able to pass off for real. They just printed their own stock, and it's bad paper, and they paid people with bad paper that started at a value that they gave it based on nothing, and now is worth half of that in 4 hours. Is what I'm saying. What I'm hearing as a layman, as a small town bird lawyer.
That certainly seems like it. And again, if you receive this stock, whether it's 6 months or 2 years, you couldn't sell it right away. So you're just watching whatever valuation you thought you had slip away. Now, look, it may rise up again a little bit because it's gone down so fast. I could see some people jumping in and trying to buy a lot. But no serious institution's going to buy a $4.44 share of Podcast One, I'll tell you that.
Didn't they halt trading because it was dropping so fast at one point?
They halted trading 4 times so far today. But we're not exactly sure what caused the halt. CNBC has not been covering this stock for some reason on the day. There's other things happening right now. Right now they're talking about crypto, so that shows you where their priorities are here in the 2 o'clock hour. But $4.44 today. And
hey, good job, Rob Ellen. My buddy, my pal that emailed me, can't even fucking write English. I wonder if he's a graduate from a major university. Did he go to Penn State or did he go to the state pen, I wonder? Hey, Rob, by the way, fuck you.
Fuck you, Rob.
And, you know, and here's the thing. I personally, Jim Cornette, speaking in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not even talking to Colin Thomson now. He's got one of those padlocks on his Twitter account now, and he's gone somewhere. He wasn't up on stage with the rest of these cretins and reprobates. It looked like a goddamn hostage situation. They were hostages of the Sandinistas that were being traded for political prisoners if they played their cards right. That's what they all looked. One woman looked like she was breaking into tears up there in the shot that I saw. But nevertheless, Rob, I have said everything about all of you people, except the only thing I've not said is that your mother sucked dicks for dimes in dive bars and your father sold government secrets to the Nazis. Everything else I've said. And I know that Colin is on the run and either stole the money and lost it, or he stole the money and kept it, but he didn't want to pay for a lawyer because he hasn't fucking had his shyster attorney contact me about my comments. But Rob, you're up there with a goddamn hammer at the stock exchange. Even though you dressed like an explosion in a Salvation Army drop box, it would seem that since you're the CEO of Live One or Podcast One or whatever shyster scam you're operating, you'd be able to afford an attorney. So if I've said something that's not true or that you don't like and you feel like you can do something about it, if you're feeling froggy, asshole, fucking hop. But otherwise, I'm continuing to say, fuck you, you fucking crook, in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and you ain't doing anything about it. And apparently, you're scared to bring attention to this, but it's too late now anyway, Rob, because your fucking scam, the shit's already worth half of what it was 4 hours ago. People are catching on. I'm sure you've figured out some way you're going to make money off of this, fucking everybody else. You and Colin, your good close personal friend or whatever. But you can't do goddamn. Please have a lawyer call me. I will print his fucking letter on my website like I did the last time. And I will fucking read it on the air to millions of people. And I will also tell your lawyer to shove his gavel up his fucking ass. Fuck you. Fuck all of you fucking Wall Street crooks.
Yeah, no, fuck Rob Ellen. He's a complete piece of shit for his involvement in this. And what gets me is they're lying about stuff now because we were told Colin Thomson's going along with this deal. Theo Von just said he was told Colin Thomson was going along with this deal. They said we thought he did a wonderful job to Theo. The press statement they put out was all about, Colin had his quotes in there. The official Live One press release. His quotes were in there. He was going to be a part of this. We look forward to what we're going to keep doing. There was nothing going to stop. He was going to land there, get a bunch of stock he could sell after 6 months, more than likely, I think. And every show they got screwed to get screwed a second time. A second time. And now they're saying that Colin had no guaranteed job. Obviously, Colin wasn't there at the stock exchange. None of this has gone the way they thought it was going to go. They thought we were all going to be a bunch of sap podcasters, desperate for any money we can get. They all thought we were going to be a bunch of idiots and let these people fucking steal from us a second time. All you have to do is go look at this Rob Ellen guy and go look at this Kit Gray guy. And boy, there are videos and every photo of Colin Thomson with his fucking ridiculous hairdo.
Hey, Kit Gray looked like he was looking for that little fucking laser beam sight on a fucking scope, like he was up there about to be fucking shot on sight. He was nervous. He was shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds up there while the other stooge was talking.
Would you want to ever work with or for any of these people? We learned our lesson. We're not going to, the Who. We won't get fooled again. Or George Bush. You fool me once, won't get fooled again. We're not going to get fucked a second time. By the same person. You're the fucky. We're the fuckers.
Yeah.
But I hope you're enjoying your stock. Hope you're
Who's
enjoying your
getting
morning.
fucked now?
I hope you're enjoying your morning with your stock. I understand things aren't going very well.
Oh, that class action suit from his former employees?
That is another thing happening right now. And I can tell you there are a lot of media members circling this story. And we're telling everyone the same thing. You'll listen to what we've said on the air. We have documentation to back everything up. Anything you guys need, we are providing information of everything we're saying to document it and back it up. We challenge Colin Thomson and Rob Ellen to do the same. Because eventually it's all going to come out in discovery. And eventually you two are going to turn on each other, and one of you is going to point the finger at the other one. And I'm going to be there to laugh at both of you.
I'll tell you what, that probably, from the looks of him, won't be the first time that Colin gets fingered.
Probably not. But that is the update. Oh, actually, we have some audio. Look at this. Let's give people an example. Do you want to hear what Rob Ellen sounds like?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Here is an interview from the Schwab Network. This is from the floor of NASDAQ, so let's go to this.
Joining me right now from the NASDAQ, Rob Ellen, Chairman and CEO of LiveOne. All right, good to see you, Rob. Big day. You guys rang the bell there at the NASDAQ, and this is the first company to complete a spin-off, direct listing, and a partial dividend. There's a lot going on here. Explain what's happened.
There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here.
Cannot figure out a way to encapsulate and explain this deal.
Even she doesn't know how to fucking explain this, and she's the fucking on-air anchor of the fucking program. Let's go to this. Explain, Rob.
Here today.
Now, this is the first of its kind. It took a little longer than we expected, but it's exciting to have the only podcast network trading on a national exchange. And as you just saw, we just raised our guidance substantially to 47 to 52 million and $4 to $5 million of EBITDA. So a massive jump from last year's 34 million and losing money. Right? It's a really exciting time for the company, and I think
that is a massive jump, isn't it?
He's just fucking blurting out numbers and loud noises.
Last year we lost all this money, but this year we're doing a lot better. We want you to believe in us this year. Forget about last year.
Oh, my God.
it's a time for the podcast industry to be rolled up. I think it's an opportunity for us to roll up multiple companies in this space, as well as to pick off many of the podcasters who are.
Stop right there. Listen to the words he's using.
What are we fucking the ducks at the shooting gallery at the county fair? He's going to pick us off, us podcasters, and roll everybody up?
Roll everyone up, pick them off. This is the problem. You have a mook who had nothing to do with podcasting until his shitty company bought Podcast One, which was a shitty company. So now all of a sudden, because he owns Podcast One, and he's the CEO of the parent company, he gets to come out here and pretend like he knows anything about podcasting. Of course he thinks it's time to roll everything up. He wants to roll it up under his stock.
He wants to be the Vince McMahon of podcasting and tell everybody what to say and how to do it.
Vince McMahon was never a frump, Rob. Let's go back to Rob.
For a home that can really provide them that full 360 play. So great revenue jump. Business is terrific. We did 10.6 million for the quarter.
10.6 million in what? In revenue?
In what, for what, and at what cost?
Largest number in the history of the company.
And with this now, and by doing this separation and spinoff, LiveOne still owns about 80% of Podcast One, but you're still working on more consolidation. What are you thinking in a year or two or three? What might we be saying?
Now, let me just stop it right here to say an overall general principle I have. And Jim and I are in a very fortunate position. Independence is the way to go. We all need help at various points, but a podcaster needs independence. You need to get your own hosting. If you need production support, get production support. If you need advertising support, get advertising support. But you don't need a record label. You don't need a television network. All they can do, the only thing they can do is just dump money into your show. And then they're going to want to own a piece of everything. And then they're going to want a bigger cut of everything. 360 deals. They want to be involved in everything. 360 deal means merch. That means YouTube. That means touring. That means the podcast. This mook saw what other people were doing in the music industry 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and not realizing the market conditions of what is the podcasting industry, is attempting to do it now. Let's go back to this.
Well, hold on a second. Before we go back to anything, I'll break it down even simpler than that. What the fuck? The whole idea of podcasting is like the whole idea of YouTube. It's that the internet has given us the magical ability to be our own TV network, or to be our own record label, or to be our own fucking radio station, and do our own thing our own way, whatever that thing is. And I'm talking about the Royal Hour now. Everybody out here that does a podcast or gets on YouTube or puts something on fucking Facebook or whatever, all this pictures of cats. I don't give a shit, whatever. That's the fucking idea, isn't it? So now they want to do a deal where now everybody's independent, doing their own things. Suddenly they all work for this fucking asshole, and they do the shows the way he wants them to, and say the things that he wants or doesn't want, or has. If you're a comedian, a stand-up comic, he's got part of your touring and your merchandise. Or if you're us, he would have strong-armed us into having involvement in our YouTube channel, which is nobody else does, is completely separate from the podcast, but we own everything. He's trying to take over everybody's shit that are doing this specifically because, yes, there has been some goddamn dumbing down of entertainment. You used to, like I've said before, you used to have to know how to fucking write. Be able to write for a goddamn news outlet, a magazine, or a newspaper. Now the internet. You used to have to be able to sing, be able to record your music and get it out where anybody could see it or hear it. There's that too, but also this is the whole idea. It's do it your fucking self, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. And again, I'm not saying there's not room for companies, because there absolutely is. Advertising support, production help, maybe marketing help, advertising help. But it shouldn't be the old model of some big bloated company that's going to have all these divisions that they're going to stock with people they like, may not be people you like, and then they're going to take more and more money off the top. That's not the way it's supposed to go. The way podcasting is and the way the entertainment business is, everything's going the other way.
You know what? This is kind of the most legitimate, now that we think about this. This is kind of the most legitimate way to determine whether you're any fucking good or not. Because back in the old days when there were 3 networks, you could put something on fucking Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on CBS and it would get 35 million viewers by default, whether it was goddamn any good or not. But now people can see and hear every fucking thing. So if a podcast is good, or if a TV show is good, people will watch it, but they don't have to. So it's the kind of the ultimate stand or fall on your merits. If you find an audience, then that means that for the kind of people that like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like. And if you don't, well, you know, Mama says it bees that way sometimes, right?
That's right. Well, let's go back to some more audio from Mr. Elegance, who thinks he's somehow in a position where he should be the leader of the podcast business. Let's go to this.
Yeah, great question. So what I publicly said is I believe the TAM of the industry right now is growing so fast, right? It's about at 1.3 or 1.4 billion. It's going to 7 to 10 billion between now and 2030. We've said is that right now we have the biggest pipeline of podcasts in the history of the company. There's over 100 in that pipeline. Number 2 is we said there are 10 acquisitions that we are actively looking at that are potential candidates, right? Just like Fantasy Guru and just like Kast.
We're looking at potential candidates. That's the funniest fucking way to put it. We have a bunch of shows in mind that we're going to go and make a bullshit deal to. We're looking at them right now.
And yeah, Kast, a potential deal. Actually, 3 or 4 months after they sent out emails and paperwork to the affected shows from Kast saying that it was a deal that they were going to be doing. And now they're backing up on all of their verbiage.
We were told by Colin it was a straight up sale. The press release announced a sale of certain assets, and that's in quotes, certain assets, Turned out they were going to get rid of their whole team, and only Colin was going to go there. And then all of a sudden it became you have to go work for them. So there's a lot of things we need to track down the timeline of, but let's go back to Mr. Podcast.
That have great assets, they're distressed. They're fighting through a very difficult bank.
See, that's the problem. How many other Colin Thomsons are there out there who, because there was a bubble and because people don't know anything about podcasts and try to pour themselves into it, they get involved with these people and they're building unsustainable networks unless you're doing it the right way, which is here's a revenue stream, here's the share that goes to the podcaster, here's our share, here are all the other shares we get from other shows. The business has to work on that.
Well, and besides that, he said that the distressed asset, the cause of our distress was the guy that's then trying to sell all those shows over here to this fucking crook. So he distressed us on purpose so that we'd allegedly want to fucking go to any safe harbor. And then this guy was waiting with the fucking ferry boat.
Key market, they're fighting through a very difficult small cap market, and this could be that opportunity to really roll it up. And our team is so experienced. They're a team that helped build Westwood One.
Westwood One fucking sucks, by the way. Anyone who knows anything about radio syndication, Westwood One fucking sucks. But anyway, back to this.
Come out of the iHearts of the world, Sue McNamara, Ren Sales, for Howard Stern and Mel Karmazin. This is a world-class team that has that experience that really, is going to be able to provide stability for those smaller companies and give them an outlet to be able to really be rolled up and feel comfortable that someone's going to create that value.
And that's why they have to change everyone's deals, and that's why they're trying to get 60-40 deals, and that's why they want 360 deals, because somehow they got to pay for all this shit they're trying to fucking sell everyone on.
For them, and having the only public currency is going to give us a huge advantage.
Yeah, and you talk about top artists, there's music, there's entertainment, all kinds of podcasts. You have the audio group and the music group.
Name names.
Tell me a little bit about that. I like when you bring in things that people understand or recognize, because you talked about the growth of the company, you talked about some of the numbers. I mean, how many listeners are we talking about? And how are you breaking it down for this growth and recognition, too?
Yeah, a couple of things. The crossover between our music obviously fits together. Just like
the music, I don't know if he means Slacker Radio, the company that lost a $10 million judgment, or almost $10 million to Sound Exchange last year, who, from what I've heard, he's about to spin off as the next stock of Live One. So I'm not sure.
Wait a minute. How could he spin that off as stock when they said when they lost the judgment that they couldn't afford to pay it to begin with? That was only $10 million.
I'm not sure. We actually have to find out I'll reach out to Sound Exchange, see what we can find out about what's going on with that. But let's go back to the MOOC.
And everybody else has enhanced the experience, the music listening and audio by adding podcasting, right? We have this very unique partnership with Elon Musk and Tesla, and we've just added
Tesla.
It's
not Tesla, it's Tesla. I'll put my money on this guy's either from the Five Towns or Merrick Belmore. But anyway, back to this.
125 podcasts into every Tesla car. It's a new revenue stream, advertising stream, sponsorship stream, and
so again, that's something interesting. They can inflate how many subscribers they have, I guess, because if it's just automatically put into a Tesla car, whether you subscribe or not, like I get a new car, it comes with Sirius satellite radio. I never sign up for it. So it'll give me 3 free months. Technically, I'm a subscriber, I guess, for those 3 months. But then I never come back.
But now, these people, certainly they wouldn't artificially inflate their numbers by nefarious means.
I would say certainly not. They're a publicly traded company, but it's a questionable thing.
They've been nefariously inflating everything else, including their dates for this evening.
Why is Elon Musk doing business with these people? But anyway.
New way for us to reach our audience inside of Teslas and talk to them, to be able to upsell them and do other things with them. On top of that, our musicians cross over. We now have T-Pain with a great podcast with us, and we've done many others. We did with Pitbull, and we see great advantages in that crossover between driving music, driving audio, and driving that content.
This guy's so full of shit. He looks like a fucking potato with a potato head.
Yeah, and when we look at the big picture here going forward and talk about you're done with at least part of the spin-off, now what are you hoping to accomplish at least in the near term? Because when you see
What are they, in a parking lot?
They are in the stock exchange, and there are no cars in these indoor buildings, so I'm not sure, unless this is like outside a hospital, I'm not sure.
It really is looking great.
Yeah, so, I mean, to start with, we've also talked about spinning off our Slacker business, right? Which the subscription is literally just hockey stick growth, very much like Podcast One. And when you look at those numbers, we've grown our subscription from 400,000 when we took Live One public to over 3 million, and we're on our way to 4 million this year. So really exciting. And
how many of those subscribers have this automatically given to them, like, for instance, in a Tesla car, and have never sought out Slacker or wanted Slacker because, you know, it's not 2003 or anything? We don't know.
Millions and millions of paid subscribers. We're growing about 65, almost 70,000 paid subscribers a month.
That's a lot. And they're all paying. Yeah, as you said, I mean, that's another big part of it. What about the advertising business? It's so fragmented. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like there was COVID and then improvement? Where do we stand now on an economy and advertising?
I think the overall ad market is struggling. It's better than it was 3 months ago, but still struggling. But interesting enough, in
part of the problem is in podcasting, it needs to be on a show-by-show basis. Bundling a bunch of shows is a bad idea, even if it's the same genre of shows. It has to be a show-by-show basis. That's why a lot of podcasters should just get their own advertising team that will work specifically with them for their needs.
Right? Podcasting is actually doing very well. And part of the reason it's doing so well, because the metrics are so easy to track as a digital experience. And I think, you know, just going back when, you know, in my career as I've watched, you know, having those Howard Sterns, having those Adam Carollas, as we have on our platform, the Jordan Harbingers, they have such a sphere of influence over their enthusiastic consumer base, right? Those super fans.
This guy's such a douchebag. You're going to see
continued growth in sponsorship in podcasting, and I think you're going to see very uniquely so many new sponsors have moved into podcasting.
Yeah, he's right about that. People who've been using their radio budgets, people who have not been applying their radio budgets to podcasting are finally starting to loosen up. People who have been only using it for digital advertising are starting to look to podcasting. That's the way it should be, but he doesn't really have any function in that. They're just trying to swallow up a bunch of shows. Look, when Vince McMahon started getting wrestlers, everyone felt like this was great. After a while, it was like, man, he's got everything. He owns everything. It's all about him. We're fucked. He owns my name. That's what this guy's trying to do right here. I don't know how much longer I can listen to this guy. Any closing thoughts? I was
about to say, closing thoughts is, what is the closing price of the stock before it closes its doors?
Hold on, maybe it went up. It had to have gone up. It went down. It's now $4.36 a share. So it's now down 45. It's still 45.5%, $3.64 down from where it opened at $8. And why would you buy it?
Everybody apprised.
Why would you buy it? The only reason you buy a stock is if you're hoping to make money with it. So why would you? Again, I'm just going based on my personal experience with these people, just in our dealings that we've talked about on the air. I wouldn't want anything to do with this executive team, and I don't want anything to do with this CEO. And I saw how they tried to fuck me and give me this stock. And I saw and have talked to people who have been offered worse deals than we were offered with them. So why would anyone want to do business with these people? And why would anyone want to own this stock?
Apparently nobody does. It doesn't have too much farther to fall unless it's made out of rubber and then it'll bounce so it can fall again.
Well, that was the update on Colin Thomson, Kast One, Live One, Kast Media, Podcast One. Apparently Kast Media still in operation, haven't filed for bankruptcy. Colin's still billing on whatever shows he still has that he could bill off. Where's that money going? We'll find out.